Mr Chair, perhaps if I could provide some hopeful assurances for a few things from Mr Parker in particular, although I think in answer to his question about what we do about these things, well, you could think. Thinking would be a good thing for starters. So one of the things you could think about would be the chances of a fibre network that having a monopoly position any time in the next 8.5 years. You could contemplate that for a kick-off. You could contemplate that the copper network continues to be regulated, notwithstanding, I think, 3 quotes from 3 different speakers from the opposition trying to suggest somehow that didn't, and so on, making up things all the way through the discussion. And I think it is a bit sad, actually, I have to say, because it's sort of, rather than actually studying the bill and looking at it and looking at what a great deal it is for this country, it's just playing ridiculous politics all the way through and thrashing around and opposing, which I think will be sadder for them than for anybody else, opposing one of the most exciting investments that New Zealand can make in its future, and opposing what is a tremendous deal for consumers, a tremendous deal for taxpayers, and a tremendous deal in terms of the cost of the country in terms of getting this built, which I think is very exciting for New Zealand. And I'm pleased that both Mr Parker and Mr Mallard are in the House, because they could probably have a bit of a powwow about their view on contractual matters for governments, because the other day Mr Mallard was declaring that contracts will not be safe. Contracts will not be safe, or words to that effect, with the change of government. And no, he actually said contracts. I can quote it back to you if you like. And then Mr Parker came in yesterday clarifying it. Oh, no, contracts will be fine. We don't change contracts. It's a regulatory matter only. And then Mr Mallard pops back in today and says, well, actually, no, it's a contractual thing again. So I think a team huddle, if I may recommend it, to actually discuss what the actual position is might be worthwhile. A group huddle to discuss whether you really are going to take the view, as the Labor Party is suggesting, that they are going to take the view that perhaps government contracts can be just overthrown at any stage, because that would be new. That would be reasonably new in the history of the New Zealand Parliament. I think it is a bit the way they are at the moment. They're sort of thrashing around in the swamp like an old crocodile, trying to just snap at anything and pretend that they have an answer, when the reality is they haven't even read the bill, or indeed the SOP, and that's clear from all the things that they have raised. The suggestion that copper prices will go up. Well, given that you're talking in terms of averaging around 4% of the copper, copper-based broadband services, huge hyperbole from a man not unknown for hyperbole, it has to be said, Mr Cunliffe, who could possibly be said Mr David Hyperbole Cunliffe, once again diving in where truth fares to tread, and getting stuck in and making some wild assertions and trying to look knowledgeable and serious and grave about New Zealand's future, when we all know that he's just playing political points. I think, Mr Chair, it is important to point out that we have made some changes to the bill. We were clear all the way along when dealing with the regulatory forbearance matters that if a better solution could be found, that we'd be happy to take it. And in fact, Labour members of the Select Committee had no solution, and the industry proposed a solution which was the same as the regulatory forbearance. But we were able to come up with a solution which provided, I think, confidence to consumers, the additional confidence over that initial period, with the support of the Māori Party, which was very good. But we also were able to do it in such a way as it costs no more money to the Crown as well, which I think is important, and again something which has been misrepresented by the Labor Party, and one is tempted to say, with all their misrepresentations, that you could grant them a few on the basis they didn't understand things, but actually it's starting to show a little bit of a pattern here, and I suspect there might be a possible degree of intent around this, because they want to sabotage what is a brilliant policy for New Zealand. And it really is, Mr Chair. And I think it's very exciting. I think it's exciting for this country, ultra-fast broadband and rural broadband. I have a huge pile of endorsements from rural communities around the country, and we haven't talked much about the rural broadband enabled by this today, but it is so important for New Zealand. It is exciting, and I have to say it's politically exciting. It's politically exciting because the National Party is going to have the opportunity at the election to get up and say, that the Labor Party, Mr Chair, the Labor Party opposed. The Labor Party opposes ultra-fast broadband. It opposes faster broadband for rural areas. It opposes all those things. It opposes things that give us an economic step change, and I'm pretty excited about that politically. So as well as economically for New Zealand, I think I'm pretty excited about it politically. In fact, our reality is I can't wait. I can't wait for that discussion on the campaign trail later this year, Mr Chair.
Honourable Trevor Mallard.